Alright guys, welcome back. So we've got some new product for testing, and it's really been the one we've been waiting for a little while now.
Most anticipated, I would say.
I think so. We've got the G410 full lineup with us today. So
everything's
driver,
here.
fairway woods, hybrid. So big shout out to Nick who dropped that stuff off for us to test. We've been really keen as the other tests have been flowing, and we've been seeing great results from the Cobra stuff, the Mizuno stuff. We haven't really get into the TaylorMade stuff yet. We've done a little bit with Lindsay, but we haven't done it with you. So we've got more to do with that, but we're excited about this one.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the hybrid.
Yeah.
I completely forgot, but last year's hybrid was not adjustable.
That's right. It was bonded.
Really good performer. You mentioned it was probably your favorite for most people that came in the shop. Really good performing hybrid.
Definitely.
And the fact that they've added what is a super adjustable hosel now. Lie angles and lofts and stuff like that is going to be a big development. So we want to compare sort of what you can do, I guess, to dial this in better, because they don't really appear to have a bunch of design differences aside from the hosel. Fair to say?
Very fair to say, because that was the first thing you and I looked at was what's different. So you know, we talk about these engineering trade-offs that companies have to make in order to add things like adjustability. And so, you know, I'm looking at the weight at the back, and, you know, one of the things we talked about, maybe they've sacrificed a little bit of this back weight, which we know is so functional from an MOI standpoint, from a sort of forgiveness, moving that CG away, which helps kind of increase launch and stabilize the face. Have they maybe sacrificed a bit of that weight? Not a bit of it. It actually is fractionally heavier.
Yeah, 1 gram heavier in this one versus last year's model. So profiles from the front, the back, I mean, everything looks more or less the same. You might say that it's a little bit more rounded towards the toe, but if you had the calipers out, it probably wasn't by much.
Not by much at all. I think visually, if you had the new 410 down in the playing position for you know, a few shots, you would all of a sudden blend into what the 400 looks like.
And I think that is part of what people are liking about Ping, is that they're not reinventing the wheel just for the sake of putting new product out.
That's right.
That is obviously such a good club. I think they identified, probably fitters like you said to them, listen, I would like it to be adjustable. That would be the thing to improve, and that's basically what they've done. That's
it, and even, you know, their own guys, I mean, Ping are you know, the ones who really pioneered this whole club fitting process. So even in-house, when their fitters are working with it, they know that there really wasn't much to change about G400, and continuity is a really admirable thing on their part, that they've kind of kept everything that was good about 400 and improved it. They've given us more adjustability, which for so many people watching this, I think, you know, something I'm keen to emphasize on this, all the problems that you've had with hybrids in the past, with them being a bit hooky and a bit upright and all those sorts of things, this is going to address that. So maybe if you had stayed away from a hybrid for those reasons, and you know, from the early testing that you've done with it, maybe you went with a 2-iron or a 5-wood or something, it's time for you to start retesting.
And that's why I was so excited to get this in, because we saw the flat, this kind of, they call it secret setting, but it's clearly printed here. The flat setting on there, and people will be correct in saying that Titleist does that as well. But it's nice to see another manufacturer to say, okay, I don't have to just get a Titleist hybrid if I want it to be a bit flat.
That's right.
So we'll be curious to see how that affects, you know, whether the ball flight can start a little more left for me, because I tend to obviously overdraw hybrids as well. So what do you want to do first? You want to hit last year's just to get an idea of the baseline?
I think that's a great place to start. Let's test G400. We know we like it. Let's hit a few, and then let's start to play with 410 and fiddle about with these new settings.
For sure. So we've got a 3 hybrid 19 degree.
Okay. Good swing. Look at that. Look at that. Give us a 1. Oh! It'll float straight in the hole.
A little thin.
A little thin, but again, that's why we love a hybrid.
Yeah, staying on line.
You know, your target's out there at 250, and you can hit it kind of low in the toe, and it's still very playable. Nice. That's a hot one.
It's a hot one,
a really hot one.
Guy actually. Ooh.
That's a spin killer.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a really nice, can actually point to touch on that, Matty. It's the reason, you know, better players, when we look in the bag, are the pros, and their lofts are so weak.
Right.
They just don't want to entertain any of these.
They don't want that hot one that's just gone.
Funky flyers.
Yep.
Predictability is the premium.
That's good too. Just turn it a bit.
Yeah, it's always in the conversation for us when people are hitting hybrids. They will almost always, unless it's a pretty high handicapper,
right,
where this might not give them high enough flight or something like that.
So you might look elsewhere just for kind of maximum elevation.
We spoke, I think, at the end of year review that Rogue was probably the pick of the bunch for us for the higher handicappers last year.
Yeah, you mentioned.
And even if I still see that this year, as we still have the ability to order that, we're still doing very well with Rogue for that client.
It was a little more upright as well and stuff like that.
It is. It definitely is more draw bias and stuff. So this will be interesting here, because that last one is probably the miss that you would want to eliminate with hybrid.
So do you want to start by having this set on neutral with the 410, and then we'll decide if we want to flatten it?
It's exactly where I want to start with it, and then start to configure it.
It really does look exactly the same at address. No difference.
Acoustically very similar. Very
it sounds
solid.
a little hotter, doesn't it?
Does has a
it's nice.
Very, very solid sound to it. Struck that one nice.
Yeah, that was a good hit.
Quick, Matty. It's really, really quick. 159
Speedy,
ball speed off of a hybrid is quick. I mean, 145 efficiency.
I don't get that on my driver.
It's true.
It's nice. Slightly thin, but I'd be happy with that.
Sounded roasted, that one.
Yeah, I like that.
A little more spin there, just hanging a little bit, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, how soft did that land there?
That's what you want.
That is exactly what it is. I mean, no one should be trying to hit this thing, and it's coming out there like a missile hitting the green.
No.
You know, like jumping through it.
That's more like it.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels great.
That was hit well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that should have a little less backspin on it, I would imagine.
It certainly did. All right, let's do what we know we were going to do anyway, which is flatten the hybrid and start playing with these secret settings.
I would say it's not exactly like a hook bias club in its standard. It's not bad,
is it? It's definitely not. You can see by the design, it's definitely not. It's not got draw bias in mind. It's designed to be very neutral.
I like that quite a bit.
So you can go flat with reducing loft by 1 degree.
Yep.
Flat, adding loft by 1 degree, or flat, keeping loft as is. You just need it flat. It's
going to ask
with the same.
Yeah,
you just
same
need flat
loft.
19.
So those launch and spin numbers you think are quite good, and then we'll just look at the flatness to maybe keep the ball flight a little more down the center.
So you're flighting at around 120 feet, just exactly where
that's what you want.
We always want you at. So 116 and 116, you kind of match them up, which is nice. The apex look quite similar.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We just want to shift those and move them over a little bit.
That's interesting.
Let's see. So we've got a bit of a toe-up situation. So let's see if we can, if that is going to change.
So obviously it's not going to probably won't be a dynamic lie of 0, but to bring it closer to like 1 or 2 would be preferable, you think?
This is the fun of testing theories, and this is kind of part of the club fitting process that we go through every single day. When we're watching and analysing, our mind is thinking, okay, what could we change? How can we influence that golf club? We have theories about what might work, and then it's just, we have an hour and a half to test our theories.
It's great.
That's what it is. It's so much fun.
While you're setting that up, let me ask you about the strike point relative to the lie angle. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I've ever asked you about it in detail, but I see questions, people asking if I bend my irons, will I shift my strike point?
Yeah.
Will you see a change in strike point based on lie angle?
If you are changing the pitch of that CG up and down, you will influence the reaction of the golf club based on the strike point.
Interesting. So that's 1 degree flatter. It's definitely noticeable.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it sits a lot more. It sits a lot more flat. I like the look of that.
Okay.
God, how good is that?
I was going to say.
This is a completely immediate change to the flight.
That was really, really good.
I honestly feel like I swung faster because I felt like it wasn't going to go right. A little thin.
Mm-hmm. But look at that.
Don't mind it at all.
It's going to fly the full distance.
Yep. Don't mind that one bit.
I mean,
That's great.
There's definitely less kind of left to right, isn't it?
It doesn't want to turn over. Really good.
Again,
to be honest,
to me
almost
a fraction thin.
Probably a fraction, yeah. But I almost felt like I made a swing that might have caused a pull normally, but it stayed really, really straight.
Well, let's look at this already. We are definitely seeing a change in dynamic lie angle. So
it's coming in way, way flatter.
Yeah.
Interesting. And that makes a big difference in the start line and the spin axis of the ball.
Yeah, on the tilt of the head.
Yeah.
So it's basically the face is pointing a little bit more left as a result.
Because we've
pitch
still got
of that loft is.
We got a fair amount of loft here
Yeah.
to make that effect, I guess.
That's
Yeah, hung it a bit,
nice.
but it's moving the ball left like it's supposed to, isn't it?
There's going to be a lot of people that kind of have curved hybrids too much who are going to be really excited by this.
Yep. Okay, I got to make one where I'm not trying to fear a hook. I'm definitely not going to hook it, is it? That's so much better. Love that.
What a difference.
Really like that a lot. It feels really, really solid.
So let's just, while we're doing this, let's literally go, let's make it do the opposite. Let's get it turning over just to show,
Sure, yeah.
you know, that this sleeve is really able to make a change here.
So you can make that now upright?
Yeah, we can certainly go back to the lie angle we were at, but we can now start working with the face in a different fashion.
Gotcha.
So we should see this start to turn over and go into the right side of the green here.
So show how versatile this is, depending on the player coming in, what ball flight they need.
Because we want everyone to kind of understand that the adjustability is not just for the person who wants to eliminate the draw or the hook. It's for everyone.
It's for both, yeah. So in that you've closed this now, we have more loft, so we should expect a higher flight, but we should see the ball moving, curving right and starting right.
Curving more easily.
Okay.
Showing the full versatility of the club. Lovely strike, but just straight away you're able to now
just moved a
shape
bit right.
that more.
It's really interesting.
Lovely swing.
I actually felt like I pushed that, and that kept that right on line. Huh.
Really, really good. How's that even flow black shaft feel?
It feels good.
Feels nice. Quite
good, yeah.
quite stable.
It it doesn't feel soft or anything. It's nice. Not one that I've tried yet. It's the first time I've hit this one.
85 gram X.
85 gram X. So this is one that comes
That's
as
the
a standard option.
one. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's solid. And it's nice. Now it just has a little bit of draw to it. That's pretty sweet. Like you can move the ball a solid 20 yards between the leftward and the rightward, can't you?
It's exactly what we would sort of expect. So if we want to look at just sort of those two, so we can see how much we can separate. Now look at those flights.
So similar.
Side on, nothing much going on. Ball speed, not much going on. Launch changed. Spin rate never changed too much. Dynamic lie angle changed close to 1.5 degrees.
Which is exactly what you changed it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Pretty neat.
So you gave one person the ball flight they needed, which is to limit the hook.
Definitely.
And you gave another person the sort of draw bias ball flight that they're looking for to get rid of their slice.
I mean,
sweet.
You guys obviously know
Love that.
how good Matt is at testing these things. You're very, very good at testing these things, and that's why these tests are so valid, because you can literally just give me the same swing and we can start to see these things happen. And you know, a lot of people have made kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek comments recently, like you don't need a test robot. It's you know, it's interesting. It's probably true in the sense that we're able to test it in the real world, which is doing a test like this, which is so fascinating to me. It's so encouraging as a club fitter that, you know, there's companies out there making product like this that allow us to actually do our job better.
For sure, because now I know you'll have this in your memory bank. Someone's going to come in for a hybrid fit in the next week, and they'll have one of those two flights, and you'll say, you know what, I know for sure that this loft is going to help you move the ball left to right.
For sure.
It's just,
you know,
it's really good.
Where the person who maybe at some point we would have went, okay, we probably have to get you out of hitting a hybrid now. We need to probably get you into an iron because we can bend the iron and influence the lines. Now I can give someone the forgiveness of the hybrid and all the benefits and playability of that, but have shot shape and adjustability as well.
Awesome. So just for my own curiosity, are those spin numbers good for really a hybrid of that length?
It's actually
that's what you're looking for, because it will land on the green nicely, but it's got enough, I guess it's low spin enough to still be a decent tee club.
General rule of thumb, guys, this is a good little nugget. Driver, spin them at low 2s. 3-wood, spin them at low 3s, and hybrid, spin them at low 4s.
Okay, well that's great.
It's pretty much what we see now.
For most people,
that will be dependent on the player and how shallow you are, how much loft you deliver, and all those sorts of things. But ballpark wise, if you're delivering in the low 2s, low 3s, low 4s with driver 3-wood hybrid, you will be generally in the right spot.
That's good. That's very good for people to know when they go for demo days and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Cool.
No, I'm impressed with this.
Good,
I think that's really good. I mean, we will mention that we were using one of the included, we'll call it a stock shaft, but it's quite an expensive aftermarket shaft, but it's included for free. We haven't gone to the point of dialing this in and fitting it, which I'm sure we'll do at some point. But for an initial test with a one option shaft, it did great.
Wouldn't be far off what we would give you anyway.
Probably not.
In terms of weight and flex and bend profile. So you know, it's a nice one that they offer in that. So you know that the type of player who swings at your speed and has your characteristics will definitely have the opportunity to test that one and see how it stacks up against some of the other stuff like, you know, DI or Tensei White or Thump or, you know, one of those other sort of, you know, call it premium or aftermarket shafts. But
for the hybrids,
this is a good option.
That's great. Okay. Well, that was a really interesting test. So let's call it a day on that. Call that an initial test for the hybrid. We are now going to move on to the 3-wood in the next video and work our way up to the driver. And then once we get the new adapter for Club Connects, if anyone's wondering why we're going to use no upcharge included shafts, it's because we need to get the new adapter. But we're going to do all our initial testing today, then eventually we'll fit the driver to sort of see how good it can be.
Definitely. So that's a good point, Matty. So when it comes to using the Club Connect system, which we use Unifit, the little connector that works for ping, so it's a little it's a little 5-sided kind of pentagon shape that we use for ping that gave us the 5 settings, which was neutral, small minus, big minus, small plus, big plus. So there's 5 adjustable settings on G400. Now we have the 5 plus the 3 new ones.
So you need to make an 8-sided product in order to let us use everything on the wall.
Correct, and that's just for the driver. We use the sleeves for fairway and hybrid. So once we have the sleeves come in from ping, we will literally just build the sleeve up with Club Connects in it. So that's all
then you can just flip the head. Perfect. Okay, great.
Okay, good. This is exciting stuff. Lots planned today.
Yes, lots coming.
Busy day. Lots and lots of G410. We've got some other things to test. We've got a live Q&A as per, which will be
looking forward to that.
A lot of fun. So busy day.
Good stuff.
Good. Excellent, guys. Appreciate you watching. See you soon.